The prairie wind carried the smell of dust, sunburnt grass, and the faint copper tang of a storm brewing somewhere far off beyond the mesas. Cole Harlow tasted it before he saw the bruised clouds piling on the horizon, and he urged his horse onward. The day had been longer than most, because Buckthorn, his favorite mare, the one horse he trusted more than half the cowhands in New Mesa County, had vanished sometime during the night. A loose latch on the paddock gate, a trail of hoof prints. And suddenly he was riding from sunup to near sundown, with nothing to show for it but an aching back and a creeping worry coiled in his gut. Asterisk. He followed a narrow trail carved between sagebrush and scattered boulders, his eyes scanning the fading light for any movement. Coyotes were starting their song early tonight. That wasn't a good sign. Animals always sensed a storm long before people did. Asterisk. He clicked his tongue and leaned forward in his saddle. "Come on, old girl," he muttered to the horse beneath him. "One more mile, and we'll turn back." Asterisk. But before he got the chance to turn anywhere, he saw something moving up ahead, something unsteady, weaving, almost ghost-like in the dying light. He squinted. A silhouette. A person. A woman stumbling along the trail like every step hurt. Asterisk. Cole straightened in the saddle. That wasn't a place folks wandered unless something had gone terribly wrong. Asterisk. He nudged his horse forward and called out, "You all right?" Asterisk. The figure jerked to a stop. For a moment, Cole thought she might bolt like a spooked deer. But then she staggered sideways and braced herself against a boulder. As he rode closer, the details sharpened. Dusty boots, a torn skirt, tangled hair, and a face pale beneath the dirt. Clara Dawson. Asterisk. Of all the people in New Mesa territory, Clara was the last person he expected to find out here alone. She was tough as they came, the kind of woman who ran her family's ranch with the grit of 10 men. She'd never needed rescuing a day in her life. And she sure as hell didn't scare easy. Asterisk. But the look on her face, now wide eyes, trembling lips, breath coming in short, uneven bursts made Cole's stomach twist. Asterisk. He swung off his horse before it even came to a full stop. "Clara, what in God's name happened to you?" Asterisk. Her hand shook as she pushed hair out of her face. The words came out ragged, almost choked. I can't close my legs." Asterisk. Cole froze mid-step. Not because of how it sounded, but because of the way she said it with terror, not embarrassment. Asterisk. "What?" he asked carefully. "You hurt? Broken bone? Hip?" Asterisk. "No." She swallowed hard and grabbed his sleeve with desperate fingers. "There's something wrong. Something stuck. I tried to walk, but it won't let me close my legs." Asterisk. Cole had seen men trampled by bulls, gored by longhorns, crushed under wagons, but the fear in Clara's voice was something altogether different. Asterisk. He guided her to sit, but she shook her head violently. "No, can't sit. If I move the wrong way, it squeezes. Hard? Asterisk it?" he repeated slowly. "Clara, what is it?" Asterisk. She clenched her jaw, eyes darting toward the ground as if afraid it might follow her. "I don't know. I was riding near the gulch. My horse reared. I fell. My skirt got twisted, caught on something, and then I felt it. Around my leg. Heavy. Alive." Cole's blood ran cold. Alive. He crouched down, keeping his voice gentle. "Did someone hurt you? Did you see any riders around?" Asterisk. She shook her head sharply. "It wasn't a person." Asterisk. He nodded once. "Show me." Asterisk. Her hands trembled as she lifted the edge of her dirt-streaked skirt, enough for him to see what looked like a twisted strap pulled tight around her upper thigh. But it trembled. A tiny ripple, a pulse of movement, like a heartbeat beneath scales. Asterisk. Cole felt every muscle in his body tighten. "Don't move, Clara." "I'm not planning on it," she whispered. He leaned in slowly, the way he would approach a rattler hiding under a feed barrel. At first, all he could make out was the dark, dusty coil wedged between the fabric and her skin. But as his eyes adjusted, The shape resolved into something unmistakable, a thick prairie king snake wrapped around her thigh. Not in anger, but in blind panic, half trapped in the torn threads of her skirt. The fall must have crushed part of its body, and now every tremor of Clara's muscles only made it squeeze tighter, locking her legs apart like a vice. "Damn," Cole muttered under his breath. Clara's voice quivered. "Is it bad?" Asterisk. "It's unusual," he answered honestly, "but you're going to be all right. King snakes aren't venomous, but if it panics, asterisk, I know," she whispered, closing her eyes. "I can feel it every time it moves." Asterisk, he steadied his breath. He needed to be calm. She needed him calm. He'd wrangled rattlers before, pulled coral snakes out of chicken coops, even once caught a copperhead barehanded after a boy cornered it with a pitchfork. But this was different. The snake wasn't the threat, was the position, the tension, the fragility of the whole situation. One wrong move, and Clara would get scarred in ways she didn't deserve. Asterisk, "Okay," Cole said gently. "I'm going to get it off. But I need you to stay still." "I haven't dared move a muscle since it latched on," she breathed. He eased closer, careful not to cast a shadow that might spook the creature. Clara stood braced against the boulder, breathing shallow, eyes fixed on the horizon, as if willing herself out of her own body. Asterisk, Cole reached out, fingers slow, steady. He brushed aside a few strands of torn fabric, exposing more of the snake's coiled body. It twitched at the touch. Clara gasped through clenched teeth, her fingers digging into the rock. Asterisk, "Easy," Cole murmured. "You're doing good." Asterisk, he slid one hand under the snake's body, feeling its weight, the faint tremor of fear humming through its muscles. The poor thing was stuck tight, one loop wedged between fabric folds, another loop crushed beneath Clara's fall. He needed to unravel it without making it tighten further. Asterisk, he worked carefully, using only his fingertips, loosening one small coil, then another. Clara's breath hitched with every movement. Sweat slicked her temples. The wind blew dust across their faces. But neither of them blinked. Asterisk, when the final coil loosened. The snake suddenly spasmed, jerking upward, sliding in a frantic wave. Reflex took over. Cole caught it firmly, hands closing around its midsection before it could whip toward Clara. The snake thrashed once, twice, then went limp in defeat. Asterisk, Cole turned and flung it into the brush. It slithered away, bruised but alive, disappearing into the shadows. Asterisk, Clara trembled so hard her knees buckled. She would have fallen if Cole hadn't caught her by the waist. Asterisk, "It's gone," he said softly. "You're safe." Asterisk, her breath came in shaky bursts, her forehead pressing weakly against his shoulder. I truly thought it was all over." "Not today," he murmured. He lifted her gently, careful of her leg, and carried her a few steps away from the rocky slope. She was light, lighter than he expected, but sturdy Clara Dawson was built of sinew and will. Yet right now, she sagged in his arms like someone who'd fought something far bigger than herself. Asterisk, when he set her down on a flat patch of ground, she winced, but managed to sit. Cole crouched beside her, inspecting the bruises forming on her thigh. They were deep, angry, already purpling. "That thing must have held on tight," he muttered. Clara huffed a weak laugh. "You think?" Asterisk, he glanced up. For the first time since he found her, she managed to faint. Shaky smile, asterisk, the first drops of rain began to fall. Large, cold, slow. The storm had finally reached them. Asterisk, "We need to get you home," Cole said, rising to his feet. "Storm's coming fast." Asterisk, she tried to stand, but her leg wobbled. Cole caught her again. "Easy, I've got you." Asterisk, "I hate this," she muttered. "Hate feeling helpless?" Asterisk, "You're not helpless," he replied. "You walked halfway across the prairie with a damn snake stuck to you. That's more than most men could manage." Asterisk, she let out a tired breath. "When you put it that way," asterisk, he scooped her up again, and though she protested, it was half-hearted. Her arms looped around his neck for balance as he carried her toward his horse waiting patiently on the trail. Asterisk lightning crackled in the distance, illuminating the carved lines of the canyon and the open plains stretching like a sea around them. Asterisk Cole, Clara said softly. Asterisk yeah? Asterisk. Next time someone tells me the prairie is dangerous, I'll believe them. He chuckled under his breath as he helped her into the saddle. Good, because out here, unbelievable things happen more often than they should. Asterisk. He mounted up behind her, steadying her with an arm around her waist. Hold on, he said. I already am, she murmured, leaning back against him. Asterisk. They rode into the gathering storm, the sky rumbling overhead, the dust rising in swirls behind their horses' hooves. Whatever else the day had taken from them, time, strength, pride, it had also given something back. A story no one in New Mesa would ever believe, and a bond forged in the strangest of dangers. Asterisk. And as the rain began to fall harder, Cole kept her close, guiding them both home through the wild, unpredictable heart of the West. Asterisk.